Hello Raw lovers and welcome to, are we on part 6 now I think? Part 6 of the Land of Raw, can you believe it? And I always end up doing this, we are on chapter 13, which can be unlucky for some. I've closed it there in case you do any sneaky reading ahead. Last time in our book, Arthur had tried to go in the camp bed because that's where he believes Grandad to be, and he'd said, "Hear me roar," but then he'd just come out the other side, and he tried 32 times. And then Rose has just been in sucking on her ice pop. She's going out with Maze and she's not fussed. I think she thinks Grandad is just playing a big joke on them. So let's have a look in the book. Chapter 13. I pull my legs in behind me and I crouch in the middle of the bed, just like before. Only this time I don't bother with any magic words. Instead, I use Rose's technique. I close my eyes and I imagine Raw. It's hard to begin with. Raw is buried at the back of my mind. Some details like Wynn's hat and Croaky's voice are crystal clear, but most of it is hazy and muddled, like my memories of Nanny in the first house we ever lived in. But then something comes back to me, the feeling of holding a soft creature in my hands. This thing has got wings and they're batting against my fingers. Furry! I'm holding a furry. I'm not sure exactly what a furry is, but suddenly I know where loads of them are, in Raw. Then my mind is full of furries. I see them hovering like dragonflies and sunbathing on stones, and Raw comes rushing back to me as fast as the furries' beating wings. I see me and Wynn standing on a ship, the Raven, and I feel the spray from the bottomless ocean stinging my eyes. I hear a shout to my left, "Get back before he burns your hair off!" And I turn to see Rose tossing bits of donut to a hovering dragon. Croaky lands with a thump on the deck of the Raven. His black wings billow around him like a cloud as he grips hold of my arm and hisses, "I've got you now, Arthur Trout." Keeping my eyes squeezed shut and my mind stuffed full of Raw, I start to crawl further into the mattress. Left hand, right hand, I see Mitch, her blue hair trailing behind her, tangled and encrusted with shells. Left hand, right hand, I smell the bonfire and the popcorn smell of Winninja's cave. Left hand, right hand, somewhere at the back of my brain I register that I should have fallen onto the attic floor by now and that this is taking far too long, but I push the thought away and picture Raw's night sky, crammed so full of stars it looked like a bag of glitter had been thrown across a black velvet. There were millions of stars in Raw, blue, green, pink, purple, and their light was as warm as the sun. Those stars used to shine down on me and Rose when we were floating in Mitch's lagoon. They made patterns on our skin. I freeze, snapping back to where I am, but something has changed. My hands aren't pressing into a soft and spongy mattress anymore. Has he done it? They're touching something cold and hard. Holding my breath, I feel around. The mattress has gone. I'm kneeling on stone. Must have done it, surely. Icy fear rushes through me. This is what I wanted to happen, wasn't it? I wanted to crawl into the camp bed and for something magical to happen. But now rock is digging into my knees. I'm so scared. My whole body is shaking. I force myself to open my eyes. Thick blackness surrounds me, but far ahead I can just make out a tiny pinprick of green light. And the air isn't dusty anymore. It's cool and damp, and I can hear rushing water. I start to crawl towards the green light. My head scrapes against the roof of the tunnel and rocks graze my hands, but I don't stop until I reach the very end and the green light has become a curtain of leaves. Look at that. I love the illustrations. Well done, Ben Mantle. They're brilliant. Before I can change my mind, I push my head through the leaves and crawl out into the dazzling sunshine. I blink and rub my eyes. I'm on a narrow ledge. I lean forward and see that the ledge is set into a cliff and far below me is a deep brown pool. Trying to ignore the terrifying drop, I look straight ahead. I'm staring across a valley with a river winding through it. The river passes forests and mountains and glittering lakes. One side of the valley is bright and alive and bursting with leaves and colour, while the other half is shadowy and barren. The river has a shifting, swirling rainbow shine on its surface, and it leads to a wild sea. Far, far away beyond the sea are snow-topped mountains. Gazing at this unbelievable sight, I should feel lost and scared, but I don't, because this is Raw. Let's have a look at Raw. Wow, look at that. Can you imagine going to a place like that? It is stunning. Wow, let's have a little look. Could look at that forever, couldn't you? Let's have a little look. Chapter 14. Everything is quiet and still. The trees, the pool below me, even my breathing. There's a sudden flash of red feathers as a bird explodes from a tree. It swivels its head in my direction, blinks its beady eyes, then flies away. I laugh and my voice echoes across the valley. Then I stand up on wobbly legs. The tunnel is behind me and the pool is far below. But I don't want to think about that. I haven't got a clue how I'm going to get off this ledge. No way am I jumping. I fumble in my pocket and pull out the map, thinking it might show me a safe way down. But before I can open it, the ledge starts to tremble. Seconds later, a loud rumble comes from high above the cliff. Fear flashes through me as the rumble gets louder and the map is whipped from my hands by a sudden gust of wind. I look up just as a wave of water bursts over the top of the cliff and crashes down. The on-off waterfall, I think, as the water smacks into me, knocking me off the ledge. How could I have forgotten the on-off waterfall? I somersault through the air before plunging headfirst into cold, deep water. My breath is punched out of me and water shoots up my nose. I panic, kicking out with my arms and legs, fighting my way up to the surface where I gasp for air. I'm trying to work out if any of my bones are broken when something closes around me. A net! I struggle against the ropes, but they squeeze tight, forcing me into a ball. With a jerk, I'm whipped back up into the air so fast I don't even have time to scream. The net bounces a few times before coming to a stop. Now I'm dangling over the pool with my arms pinned to my sides and both knees squashed into my chin. Looking up, I see that the net is tied to the thick branch of a tree. With a squeak, it begins to turn, and I try to work out what on earth, or wherever I am, has just happened to me. I know that I crawled through the camp bed, left Grandad's attic and arrived here. I know my face is stinging from where I smacked into the pool, that my lungs ache from holding my breath, and right now the spinning net is making me travel sick. Could I be in some sort of camp bed-induced coma? Or maybe I had a panic attack in the mattress and passed out. The net comes to a stop, then starts to turn in the opposite direction. No, this is painfully real. And if I'm trapped like a fly in a web, then it means someone or something wants to trap me. My eyes flick to the trees surrounding the pool, and my heart speeds up as I try to remember if we ever put any spiders in Raw. Just then, a blood-curdling scream shatters the silence and a robed, hooded figure leaps out from a tree and lands on top of me. Trainers dig into my face as the figure yells, "Submit or die!" and starts whacking me with a long stick. No, I think as the stick smacks my legs and I catch a glimpse of silver, not a stick, a bokken. Essentially, it's a metre ruler covered in silver foil, and I saw an identical one yesterday in Grandad's attic. I know who that bokken belonged to in Raw. Ninja, my best non-real friend in the world. Win, stop it, I shout, it's me! But he's enjoying himself too much to even hear me. Instead, he keeps hissing me and shouting, "Submit or die! Submit or die!" I submit! I submit! Thwack goes the bokken right across my fingers. Ow! Win, stop hitting me! It's me, Arthur Trout! Win gasps and the bokken splashes into the pool. Then he scampers round the net until we're face to face. His head is covered by a ninja hood, but I can still see a familiar grey eyes staring back at me. Arthur? Arthur Trout? Master of Raw? He pokes a finger into my face. You've come back! I do not believe it! Neither do I blurt out. I didn't think you were real, but here you are, all solid and real, like me, or a wall, or a tree, or a trampoline. What are you on about, Arthur? Of course I'm real. And what's a trampoline? It's a bouncy thing that people have in their garden. You jump on them. Win gasps. I saw a trampoline yesterday, Arthur, when I came looking for you. The shadow at the window. I knew it was you in Grandad's attic, I say. No one believed me. Win nods eagerly. That was me. I came to find you. I couldn't believe it when I crawled into that room, looked out the window and saw you and Rose. But if you came to find us, why did you go back to Raw? The net has come to a standstill and is swaying gently over the pool. You and Rose said I was never allowed to visit home, so I stood as still as a statue until you noticed me. Then I disappeared back to Raw. I knew you'd understand. I shake my head. Win, you should have written a note or something. You seriously freaked me out. Yeah, but it worked, didn't it? You're here. I think so. For a moment, we just stare at each other, me curled in a ball and Win clinging to the net, like neither of us can quite believe our eyes. Suddenly, Win says, Hey, do you like my new hood? Watch. He grabs the top of his hood and pulls it up, making it form a neat wizard's hat. Wizard! He cries, and I get a glimpse of his round cheeks and grin before he pushes the pointy bit down and his face is hidden again. Ninja, he whispers. Then he pulls up the hood. Up. Wizard! Down it goes. Ninja. Up. Wizard! Down. Ninja. Wizard! Ninja. Wizard! We ninja. I get it, I say weakly. You've got a new wizard hat hoodie thing and it's cool, but right now I think I might be sick and I'm struggling to get my head around the fact that I'm actually in Raw. He nods solemnly. I know, it's been a long time and there have been lots of changes, right? And the biggest change is me. I've buffed up massively. I've been doing 10 press-ups a day and eating loads of apples because I've had to get in shape. You see, since you and Rose stopped visiting us, things have gone a bit dodgy. The neck creaks under our combined weight. What do you mean, dodgy? Wynne sucks in his breath. First the unicorns disappeared, and then the Lost Girls abandoned their camp. Then the Earth Wobbles began, and sinkholes started opening, and a few weeks ago, Raw nearly split in two. Oh, and you hardly ever see furries these days. I reckon loads of them have been eaten. Now I'm in Raw, I can easily remember what furries are. They're tiny furry fairies, basically mice with wings but human faces. The furries have been eaten? Who'd want to eat furries? Croaky. And he doesn't do it because they taste nice. He does it for fun. Croaky's changed lots too, Arthur. He's gone nuts. I grip the net. That's why I'm here. I think my granddad is in Raw. I think Croaky has taken him. I'm half expecting Wynne to laugh or tell me I'm talking rubbish. After all, it was only ever me and Rose who visited Raw, but instead he just nods and says, Yep, Croaky's got your granddad. What? I twist and turn, desperate to escape. How do you know? He's been sniffing around that waterfall loads recently and going in and out of the tunnel. Wynne tugs on the ropes of the net. That's why I set this up, to catch him. When I turned up earlier, there were feathers and bits of straw all over the place. It looked like there'd been a pretty serious fight. I think back to the feathers and straw I found in the camp bed and the sounds I heard last night. If Croaky was in the tunnel, maybe he managed to grab hold of Grandad and drag him into Raw. That would explain why it felt like Grandad was yanked out of my hands. Oh, and I found this in the mud. Wynne pulls an object out from his robes and holds it in front of my face. I recognise the blue plastic tube immediately. It's Grandad's asthma inhaler. I push at the net as hard as I can. That's medicine and it belongs to my granddad. He's got allergies. Feathers make him really wheezy and Croaky's got those enormous wings. Wynne, we've got to get that inhaler to Grandad right now. Wynne looks incredulous. Mate, if Croaky's got your granddad, and I'm almost certain he has, then feathers are not the issue. Croaky's probably stuffed him by now. Stuffed him? The words have a familiar ring to them. Wynne, what do you mean? You know, stuffed. What Croaky does when he catches someone. First he squeezes them and drains all the life out of them, and then, if he clings on for long enough, they turn into a scarecrow. I nod and a horrible memory comes back to me of Croaky wrapping his arms around me and refusing to let go, and how I felt weaker and weaker and weaker until Rose leapt on his back and I managed to escape. But Grandad wouldn't have had anyone to leap on his back. Wynne, if Croaky drains you completely and stuffs you, you can get better, right? Wynne nods. Mitch told me that the touch of a friend can bring you back, if they can get to you in time. I've never actually seen it happen, but Mitch is usually right about stuff. And if a friend doesn't get to you in time? Wynne shrugs. You're a scarecrow for life. Right now I feel so weak I can barely push the net away from my face. Draining, stuffing, these are all things Rose and I would have made up in a game for fun to drive each other mad, and Croaky's gone and done it to Grandad. Please, Wynne, I say, you've got to get me out of here. Don't worry, Arthur. He reaches behind his back and unsheathes a lethal-looking sword. Me and my wakizashi, that's a tricky word, wakizashi, have got this covered. Then he pulls back his arm, preparing to strike. I eye the glittering blade. That doesn't look like it's made out of a ruler. Nah, mate. Wynne narrows his eyes and takes aim. My wakizashi is a step up from my bokken. It's made from triple-folded nymph steel. It can cut through granite and bone. Then he swings the sword through the air and slices through the rope. This time I hit the pool like a cannonball because a surprisingly heavy boy, half wizard, half ninja, is sitting on my head. And the water doesn't just go up my nose, it also goes into my eyeballs and enters my brain. I think because suddenly everything has gone very, very cold and black.